What are you doing there, little Bucky? Hey, good Tuesday morning. Hugmeister's Garage and Workshop. We're over here at the property across the road, over by the wood area. And this is some of the upgrades we've made to our little shed here. Actually got some fold-up tables that were in the barn. Brother-in-law gave me a nice box with a lock on it so I could store my chainsaws over here. Got the sharp chains there, got the dull chains there. Tore some more of this stuff out, took the doors off. Just put some cardboard down for some storage, but a couple fuel tanks, some oil, helmet, all that good stuff. Mixing oil. But today what we're gonna do is since we got a hard building here now, we're gonna take down that Wi-Fi transmitter off the end of that wood rack, and I'm gonna put a couple of 4x4s up there and mount that panel and that transmitter up there. And we got a clean line of sight to that garage over there, so our Aero Outdoor 7 will bounce down to our log cabin, or not log cabin, creek cabin down there for some more, keep our internet up and going. So it's supposed to be a hot one, but we'll get started on this and see where we end up. I also ended up getting a nice Victron 1200 watt inverter off Facebook Marketplace. Come with the cables, the fuses, the Wi-Fi Bluetooth dongle with it. And the guy's sending me that from Oregon, so that was a nice score. So we'll even have a little bit of 120 in here. But we only have a 100 amp hour battery, but it'll be enough for light loads till we come across. Probably put another 300 amp hour battery in here, so let's get to going. Boy, it's already getting hot in here. Now that we got everything dragged in here, we got our piece of plywood up, and we're going to put those shelf brackets up here with some 3/4 screws and put a 2x10 across there, and that's going to be our shelf for our battery and our inverter and all that good stuff. And then that way we can still slide our storage table back in here when we're all done with this. So got our temporary 12-volt light on, plugged off our little power brick there. We'll be back. Okay, we got our shelf mounted, got 4 brackets on there. Should be plenty to hold that battery. Right here, I'm gonna drill a hole through there. This is gonna be our sleeve for bringing our solar panel wires in and our cameras out and our Wi-Fi out. So it's a 1-inch sleeve. We'll get this through the wall and get her caulked up. Okay, we got our sleeve through the wall, got her caulked, and we got our 4x4s set up here. And actually, I had a small leak in there. I think I found it over there. There was a indentation. Looked like I tried patching it before, but I had one tube of that old RV rooftop lap sealant. So I just self-leveling stuff, I put it in there. These are glued down with PL3X. Shouldn't go anywhere once they set up. Then whatever I had left of that lap sealant, I put it along the edges. So once that cures, they shouldn't go anywhere. If it does, it's just going to blow into the trees. But that stuff holds pretty good. All right, next we gotta discombobulate this. Say this is our Aero Outdoor 7 that shoots down to the cabin down there, so we're gonna lose that for a little bit. But this worked good this winter. I was worried about that battery going out on low temp, but it didn't. But I did not know it a couple days ago. I looked those up. Those sheds are insulated, so I think they'll be better against the freeze protection. And I'll get all this off my wood rack, and this stuff will be a little more protected inside. But here's our inverter or converter up to our Aero. There's our charge controller, and here's our homemade friggin' arm out of an old satellite dish and an extension, so we'll start getting this tore apart. Well, that's enough for today. We got our Wi-Fi hotspot up. Got our solar panel up. Got our battery moved in here. That's our power supply to our Eero 7 up there. That's our sleeve with our wires coming in. Controller's working good. Probably gonna do a little something different with this lighting now that this main battery's in here. I'll probably get one of those mini panels, and that way I can do away with that. Or I can just leave, I got two of them, maybe I can just leave it over here. And then I can charge that off the mini panel off of this. But gonna be pretty good, I think. Hopefully that inverter shows up this week, and we'll get that mounted and finish this up. Okay, it's Thursday morning, we're back, and we kind of got a plan here. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna unhook all this, and the plan is to move this over here, set a couple of bus bars. Our inverter will go over here. This will go here, this will get here, mounted, and try to make a neat looking install. And I found this upstairs. I think it's an old trailer battery box. I'm going to screw that to the wall, and I'm going to put that little mini power panel in there. And that'll have a 12 volt display, a bank of 4 switches. So when I redo my lights, I actually ordered a 12-inch light bar for in here I'm going to mount, and that'll just be probably pointed up towards the ceiling. That'll flood this with light. I can get rid of these old Harbor Freight jobbies, but it's the first time I actually use those. I'm glad I saved them. They're just 12 volt bulbs that plugged into that old system they used to sell for like $199. It come with the panels and the controller, but I mean, they're not going to go bad. Why throw them out, right? So we'll start getting this tore apart. It's going to be a couple days till the rest of that stuff shows up, but at least I can rearrange what I can. All right, that's kind of gist of what we got so far. Solar controller, Eero 7 power supply. This is going to be our panel, bus bars, battery. Leave enough room to upsize this to a 200 or 300 at some point. Got our catastrophic Bojack fuse on top that feeds a bus bar, and then everything else will be subfused off of that. So hopefully our inverter shows up soon. We can mount that over here. Maybe I think that has a GFI outlet on it. I might just drill a hole down through here and maybe put a, what do you call them? Like a power, you know, they got like 5 or 6 outlets on them with a surge protector, but that's down the road. Right now we'll try to get this solar back up and running and get that Wi-Fi hotspot back going. All right, we're about as far as we can go, but we got everything back up and running. Got our solar controller going, got our internet up, got our bus bars mounted, and got a fuse for our output for our Eero, and got a fuse for our input for our controller, fused on top. So I'm going to take this box over. I put this on the wall just for layout purposes. I'll take it over in the garage, and when that mini panel shows up, I'll be able to cut it in over there, and we'll be back when more parts come in. So probably won't see it on Monday. Well, it's Monday morning. Some of our stuff from Amazon showed up yesterday. We've got our power panel we're going to mount. I mounted a terminal strip in there and some jumpers. And I bought another one of these. These are pretty handy. They come with a cigarette lighter, 2 USB chargers, and a voltmeter, 4 switches. Got that cut in this. I ended up making a homemade box because I couldn't find anything. And then we're going to put this light in there. And I'm just going to screw that to the sidewall or the ceiling and probably just point it up. It'll be like indirect lighting in there, but it's a 12-inch light bar. It should flood that pretty good in there. So we'll get this kind of pre-made up and then see if we can slip in between the rain and get over there. All right, we got stuff mounted over here. That's gonna go there, our panel, and our light's gonna go here. And it's usually probably gonna be indirect, so this thing's not in your eyes. But if you are working on something decent in here, I'm gonna leave those bolts kind of snug, but you can still pivot this, and it should flood this whole thing with light, and those will be going bye-bye. So let's finish this thing up for now. Okay, that's all we can do for now. Our light is working out good. So that's going to be adjustable, which is good. But if I just leave it indirect, that gives it like a flooding light in here to see. Got our power panel up, got her labeled. Got our charger for our little, well, we can charge our power pack or our little music box here. Actually, I'll move that over there. Move the Wi-Fi hotspot feed over to here. So if I have to reboot it once in a while, I can just flick it on and off instead of having to pull the fuse. But this panel is sub-fused with a 30 amp feed that feeds this. And that's about it for now. We'll be back. Says our Victron inverter is supposed to show up tomorrow. So hopefully that shows up and we'll get this thing finished up. All right, Wednesday morning. Just got back from the dealership doing some recall work on the truck, and our inverter showed up. And as promised, it's just like new. Guy said he bought it for a van install, but he never installed it. But it came with the 1200 watt inverter, the Bluetooth dongle, switch, or 175 amp fuse, a fuse holder, even a couple cables and some mounting hardware. And this was $20 less than what just the inverter would cost, the lowest I could find it. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. Just did a test. This does have the GFI on the front, so that's good. And just did a test with this old Harbor Freight battery, and it's working. Had to update the software on both. But we're going to go ahead and start to get this mounted. All right, we're back over to our shed. Got our light on. Got our little radio going. I thought I was going to have to mount this upside down with the writing, because there's our battery in there and I want to go in that way. But on these, I just found out it doesn't matter which way that cover goes on. You can reverse it. So I took these 4 screws out and you can reverse that cover. So we'll get this thing mounted up. Well, that's a wrap on this one. We ended up putting a 150 amp breaker there that I had. I'm going to save this Blue Sea connector and that fuse. I mean, that thing there is like 35 bucks, I think. That fuse was 30 bucks, and I left these a little long. I wanted to shorten them up a little, but they already had those nice crimped ends on them, so I just tucked that there, and that'll give us some adjustment. But that 300 amp hour battery, when I catch one on sale, I should still have plenty of room there for that. And we got our power strip plugged in here. Green light came on, so that's ready to go. GFI protected. And what else? Oh, we get that new battery. We'll these are some I had laying. These are kind of small. But we'll upgrade that to a 1/aught or 2/aught, and we'll have to bump that fuse size up. But besides that, we're all ready to go. We got some 12 volt, we got some 5 volt for charging, and we got 120 volt in the old Army shelter. Have a good one, folks.